Right, back at it again. So in this video we're going to sort out the divot on here. Now a easy way to do it would be to take the old panel over there and cut the panel out of that and just let it into there. I did think about doing that, and somebody did suggest about doing that as well, and that would be an easy way to doing it. A more complicated way of doing it would be to make up a press tool to press that into place. Now, easy is okay, but it's quite boring. Making up a press tool is much more interesting, so let's do the interesting route. Okie dokie, so we want to be copying this divot here, kind of. So my thinking is make up a press tool using a bit of tube like this. That would make up our inner circle there. So if we look at it from this angle, the idea is to scribe it around here so that it'll fit square into there, if that makes sense. Hopefully it will later on. And then to pull it through, something as simple as a socket which will fit in there like so. And voila, sort of. But I think a smaller socket perhaps, so it doesn't cut the metal. So I'll have a rummage around and get a smaller one than this, which is a 5/8, whatever size that is, goodness knows. Some weird size, and I never understood Whitworth measurements. But there we go, so I get some bits together and see what we can come up with for that now. Righto, I think we got a winner. This one looks pretty good. 36mm socket, but it's got quite a nice end on it and a particularly nice bevel on it here, which will make for a nice stamp, and that fits in there nicely with a fair bit of slack, which is what we want to get that difference across there. Now, I think it'll be sort of an off-center job as well, so we'll have a play around with it. But the first thing I want to do is cut this down a little bit, because this needs to go in there, but square, so it needs scribing into that corner and cutting back about here somewhere, so it'll fit in nicely into this gap here. I'm going to catch just move that away a little bit. I'm going to catch the tripod with my, there we go. Super, that made short work of that. And nice and square too. Okay, so next you'll see there's a burr left on that, so I'll take a flappy wheel to that and clean that up. Our silver line grinder to attack that with. Make sure we're wearing masks and ear defenders and such like. Lovely, right, so that's nice and flat. So we've got a flat surface which we'll be able to pull against later on. With which something like that, offcuts of bits I've done previously with other projects, so always keep them, never know when they're going to come in useful. And today's the day, so I'll make a hole in that. That'll be our plate we'll be pulling against. Because the idea of this is to be pulling this through with a bit of threaded rod. You know, just pull through and ram it in place. So a bit of plate like that on there. I think that's about 3mm if I remember rightly. I've got a couple of those here somewhere. So I've got a couple of those. If it comes to it, I can double those up. So I've got plenty of pulling power on that. Okay, so the next thing to do is to scribe this side against the car. Alright, hopefully you'll be able to see what I'm trying to do here. So that's square with the car sort of there. So there's quite a shape there that's got to come off. So You can see there now, we're going to cut it around there now and back to around there somewhere, and keep coming backwards and forwards and trial fitting that to see how we get on. Oh, I think our battery's run out. Okay, let's put that on charge. And get recorded one. Right, let's give that a test fit. Right, that's got to go there somewhere. So it's fitting square-ish to the car now, so needs to be snugged up just a little bit more. Now it's interesting to see how this compares to our pattern panel, and it's not a million miles off. So if we can get this right, we can use it on both sides, theoretically. Okay, let's continue trimming this up until we get something close. We start smoothing off these angles, I think, more so than anything. Off there, I think. Starting to come to shape. Now we're getting there. Yeah, I think that's close enough there now, as it happens. Right, happy days. Right, that's looking pretty good there now, so get the flat wheel on that to smooth that up nicely. Right, let's see how that compares to our panel. Yeah, that fits in there very nicely. Right, so what we need to do now is make all in these so we can pull this through. Happy days. 10 mil. Right, let's make it 10 mil all in our washers. Somewhere around there, somewhere. Right, that on the back of there, that like so, then that poke through the car, and this on this side with the nut and a washer down in there, and as you tighten it up, that should pull into there and give us our dimple we're looking for. And if it all goes horribly wrong, we'll go back to plan A, which is cut the bit out the other panel. Right, spanners. Used to using silver line spanners. Right, let's give that a whirl. I think we're there. Yeah, that's the idea. That's pulled a nice off-centre hole there. So we've got the bigger crown there fading away to nothing, which is what we were after. Yeah, I'm calling that a success. Happy with that. So no need to be cutting that out of there. Or it's not quite the same as that one, but the purpose of it is the same. You know, it's the so that is flat focus. So that is a flat area for the bumper to come round and bolt into there. So yeah, chuffed with that. Happy days. So there we go. All you need to make a dimple die press, or off-centre dimple die press if you like. So nut, 10mm threaded rod, a couple of hefty washers, bit of tube, flattened round to the shaped round to the size of the car. Nice, appropriately sized socket. This one's just nicer as well because it's got this bit on it, which would be nicer in the future for making. I could use that to make dimple dies, so that'd be good for that. Another hefty washer and another 10mm nut of 17mm spanner size. Right, before we sign out the video, Aid wants to do like a question and answer type session on the channel, and hopefully to answer some of the questions you guys have. Sort of like what sort of settings you're using on MIG, what wire, etc. So if you guys got any questions you want particularly answered, please put them in the comments below, and we'll sift through them and use them as a basis for a question and answer. Spanners. Okay, so quite happy with how that's turned out. It's not quite the same as the other panel, but it's good enough. I'm happy with it, and it does the job for which it's designed to do, and actually worked out less work than cutting out the other one. I'm not worried about this hole here. I'm not entirely sure what it's there for. I don't think it's part of the bumper mount bracket. I can't remember. If it is, then we'll come across that later on, but I can't see why it would be, but there we go. We'll worry about that later down the line. That's good enough for what I want to do. and done with fairly simple tools. It wasn't rocket science to build it, and you could use that same method for making all sorts of different sizes for presses and things, as long as you got a hole in the middle, so you can pull them all together. And it's amazing how much pressure you can get with a bit of threaded rod and a couple of nuts and bolts. So thanks for watching. Do appreciate all you guys that are hanging in there and carrying on watching. I am now ready to do the tub and arch on the other side, so that'll be the subject of the next video. What I plan to do with that one won't be as in depth as it was with this side. I hope we do the whole thing as one video, over sort of an overview of fitting an arch from scratch, and taking out what I've learned from this side, taking it over to the other side, so it'll be more comprehensive. It'll probably be a while before that one's out, because it'll take me a couple of weeks probably on and off working on that to get that done, so bear with, we will be back.